And I think that's just one aspect of the difference between managing and leading, is that a lot of times you are doing your job as a leader with nothing to show for it in the immediate term in terms of work product. I think it's also how I talk about it a lot is managing in my mind is something you do. A leader is someone you are. And so leading is about how you show up, who you are in that moment. And as you're interacting with the environment and the people you're leading, I see, again, women struggle with when they become into leadership roles, they may struggle with the men who used to be their peers and thinking a lot about, I need to know everything so that I can show Joe that I'm just as smart as he is in the software development or whatever. And I really think that when you get into that mindset, you're missing the point. Your job is no longer to be as smart as Joe. You need Joe to be super smart. Your job
Right.
is
You
to
want him to be
lead Joe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really to shift that mindset. I like that a lot. Hello, my extraordinary women friends. Today's guest is someone who embodies what it means to lead with compassion, vision, and purpose. Tamra Ryan. For over 21 years, Tamra served as the CEO of the Women's Bean Project, a renowned social enterprise that has transformed countless lives by providing transitional employment to women seeking to break the cycle of chronic employment and poverty. Her work at the Bean Project has been recognized at the highest levels, including being entered into the congressional record by Congressman Mike Kaufman in 2018. Tamra's accolades are vast and impressive. She's been named to one of the top 25 most powerful women in Colorado, a Titan 100 CEO, and Social Entrepreneur of the Year by the Colorado Institute for Social Impact. In 2023, she was recognized as one of the 10 most influential women in business and most influential CEO. She's also a TEDx speaker, a sought-after voice on compassionate leadership, and the author of not one, but two impactful books, The Third Law and her latest, FollowShip, 16 Lessons to Become a Leader Worth Following. In today's episode, we will dive into the concept of FollowShip, the subject of Tamra's newest book, and explore how this approach can help leaders build trust, inspire their teams, and create meaningful impact. Tamra will share her insights on why new leaders often struggle, how they can engage and motivate their followers, and what it truly means to become a leader worth following. Let's meet Tamra Ryan. Well, welcome to Extraordinary Women Radio, Tamra. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Well, it's great to be here. We've known each other for a while, and I'm surprised we haven't done this before.
I know. I was just saying that. It's how have we not had you on before? You have such an incredible story, and all that you've done is so impressive. And so where I really want to start with is your story, right? Is like dive into a bit of your story. You've been the CEO of the Beam Project for 21 years. And so tell us how that came to be, and then we'll kind of go a little bit deeper into some of what the Beam Project is, and tell us that too,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll start by saying, we believe at the Beam Project, we believe all women have the power to transform their lives through employment.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hire women experiencing chronic unemployment, and we work with them for 6 to 9 months to help them transition into mainstream jobs in the community. And what really attracted me to the organization initially it was the business model. So we are a food manufacturer, and we make a line of food products, which started with bean soup, and so that's where our name comes from. And we are also a human services organization. So we hire the women who we're serving to work in our business. And through the course of the time where they're with us, we also help them meet their basic needs, help them work on themselves. So each woman has what we call the bean job, where she's working in the business, and the U job, the YOU job, where she's working on herself. And so I loved the idea that there was a business, and the better the business did, the more women could be served. And that was my original attraction to the Beam Project. So I, in 2002, went on to the sales and marketing committee. At the time, my background was marketing, and I was working for a tech company. So I was looking for a way to volunteer in the community. So I went on to that committee, and I did that for about 6 months, and the position of CEO came open. And I knew the perfect person, and that was my girlfriend. And I tried to talk her into applying for the job until, according to her, I went on and on about what a great place it was. And then finally she said, if you think it's so great, why don't you apply? And,
Oh,
you know,
that's a great story.
my first reaction was, oh, no, that's, you know, I'm not a nonprofit person. And she said, it's a business and that's what you do. And so obviously I applied for the job. I was actually on the selection committee, so I got kicked off the committee. And then, well, we know how it turned out. That was in 2003 is when I started.
Oh my God,
So
that's a great story.
I never expected, even from that first attraction, I never expected, you know, 22, by the time I leave in June of 2025, it'll be 22 years.
Mm,
And what I'll say though is that what attracted me to the organization, sort of in the abstract, once I was on the inside, I got to meet the women and meet them on their first day or during their first week when maybe they weren't quite sure what Women's Beam Project was all about.
right.
And then over a period of 6 to 9 months, literally watch them blossom
Watch the
and become,
transformation.
yeah. And, you know, many of us don't get the opportunity to see the direct impact of the work that we're doing.
Right.
We kind of have to have faith that it has an impact. And I literally get to watch it.
That's so what a blessing to be able to see that happen and to be able to you know, see how many lives, how many women has the Beam Project helped?
Well, they didn't keep really close records in the early days,
Mm-hmm.
but we've estimated it's roughly 5,000 women through the course of
Wow.
our 35 years.
Wow. I got goosebumps off of that. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And I think even more importantly is it's each woman and it's all the ripples that extend out from her, right?
Right. Into their
Because
families.
yeah, because I fundamentally believe when you change a woman's life, you change your family's life.
Totally.
So
And
it's
communities,
by
right?
design. Yes. And then,
Yeah.
and we have served multiple generations of the same family throughout our history. And
Mm-hmm.
even in the time I've been here, we have served multiple generations. And I think a lot about that in terms of I want to make sure the services we provide are so effective and far reaching that each woman who comes to us is the last in her family to need us. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I really would rather that in 20 years from now, we're not serving the daughters of the women we serve today because she transformed her family.
Right.
And, you know, wouldn't it be crazy if we had to do something like start hiring men because we ran out of chronically unemployed women in Denver?
That would be a great thing. I love it. I love it. So, what have you learned being in the organization about women on that journey? You know, that
Yeah,
they're going, yeah.
I think one of the most important things I've learned is that it's not my journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's her journey. It's each
Mm-hmm.
individual woman's journey. And it's a lot like what I've sort of learned about parenting is that our
Hmm.
job is to be with them on the journey for a period of time
Mm-hmm.
until it is time for them to be on the journey on their own. And so we can bring to bear all kinds of resources that will help her based on what
Mm-hmm.
she tells us and but based on what previous women have shared with us. And then it's her responsibility and it's her right to choose.
Right.
And that's, I think, gets lost a lot of times in human services. I think we decide what's best for people and then we try to foist that upon people. And the reality is the bane of human services is free will, right? Like we are all given the opportunity to choose. And we have to remember that so that to me, that's the biggest lesson is just remembering that my job is to lead an organization that brings to bear resources on the women's behalf. Whether or not they avail themselves of those resources is their choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. So interesting. So and you said you're going to be leaving in June?
Yes, June of 2025.
And what prompted it's time?
It's time. You know, I think so in 2022, Women's Beam Project moved from a building we owned for 26 years. It was a 10,000 square foot building. We moved to a 20,000 square foot building. We did a capital campaign, raised all the funds we needed for that move. A month after moving in, we paid off our bridge loan. So we have no debt on this
Wow.
$7 million building. We put money in the bank. And in 2024, we got a gift from Mackenzie Scott of $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred to me that from where the organization started, which was really in financial crisis and about a $300,000 a year operating budget, to where we are today, which is closer to $3.5 million, and having
Nice.
done the move, now is a good time to go. Right now
Yeah.
is a good time to
Yeah.
hand it off to a new person who will have amazing ideas and can take it to the next level.
That's excellent.
I think there is the right leader for the right time.
Yeah.
And the key as that leader is to not be the last one to realize time is up.
Right. No, that's a smart move. Definitely a smart move. And what's calling to you? What's next for you? I know we're going to dive into your book here in a moment, but what is
Yeah.
calling to you?
So I've heard it called a portfolio career, and in which is that you're doing a bunch of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been, doing a lot of reading as someone gets later in their career, where you move from this, from what Arthur Brooks in his book Strength to Strength calls the knowledge curve, where the jobs that you do are for the knowledge that you have, and that's what you're bringing to the table, to what's called, jumping the curve to what's called crystallized intelligence, where it's really about your wisdom and it's about your perspective and what you can offer people because you have the experience.
Mm.
And so I'm ready to make that shift of thinking about what I have to offer that maybe looks different than showing up every day to a single organization.
Right.
So that'll include a lot of different things. My book is one, and um, executive coaching for new women leaders is
Mm-hmm.
another. And I think
Mm-hmm.
women in particular have a challenge of making that transition from managing to leading.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And leading with authority and direction and heart. And then I've been the economic mobility fellow for a think tank in
Okay.
Colorado for a
Okay.
couple of years. So I'm cobbling. That's what I'm calling
I
it.
like it. I like it. It's going to be fun for you.
I
So,
hope so. Yeah.
yeah, and congratulations on your book. It's FollowShip, 16 Lessons to Become a Leader Worth Following. So what prompted you to write this book now? And just tell us a little bit about the book.
I had the idea for the book in before the pandemic. And my board and staff had done a surprise party for me to celebrate. I think at the time it was like my 18th anniversary with the organization,
Mm-hmm.
or 16th or something like that. And I was honestly very humbled by it because, again, the risk is when you are around for a long time that you really could lose people along the way. And 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 so I literally woke up in the middle of the night after that party, and I had this idea of the word fellowship, and I thought and what it meant to me at the time was what made people be glad I was still around.
Right, right.
And then pandemic happened, and I admit I had an existential crisis of what do I actually really know about leadership and followers. And then coming out of the pandemic, it crystallized for me in that I think what's missing in a lot of the leadership uh, training and literature is what inspires people to want to follow somebody. What
Right.
makes somebody want to be there? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think we really talk about that. We don't talk about leadership from a follower standpoint.
No, we
And
don't.
so that word fellowship that, ding, came to my mind really, took some time, but I was really able to then say what it really meant to me,
Yeah.
and what I think makes people be inspired
So
and want to
give
follow.
us a little bit of what that is. What gets people engaged and leaning in and wanting to follow that person at the lead?
Well, I think it's four different areas. It is vision creation and enlisting people to come with you on that
Mm-hmm.
journey toward that vision.
Mm-hmm.
It is integrity and how you show as a leader, how you show integrity and how you build trust through that integrity. It
Mm-hmm.
is courage. There are a lot of times when it would be a heck of a lot easier not to do the hard thing as a
Right.
leader.
Right.
And I think more often than not, too many leaders choose not to do the hard thing.
Right.
And then it's emotional intelligence. It's really
Yeah.
reading the room and understanding the people who you are leading. And so within each of those 4 areas, I chose 4 lessons.
Okay.
So with vision, for instance, one of the lessons is be a dot connector. Your job as the leader, is to be scanning the environment and gathering information and connecting those dots to create a vision. And it's a vision that will resonate with the followers and will advance the company or the organization. And so that's really how the book is structured. It's within each of those 4 areas, it's 4 lessons I've learned.
Nice. I like that a lot. So I know you're going to be focusing on new leaders. What are some of the reasons that you've seen new leaders struggle?
One of the biggest ones is the making that transition from managing to leading.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in
I
fact,
remember
I
that.
have a
I remember that even for myself, right? That period,
yeah.
how difficult that is.
Yeah. And I remember it myself, and I talk about this in the book. There is a chapter about that transition. And I remember when I first came to lead Women's Beam Project, I remember being super busy the whole day, where I had meeting after meeting after meeting and nothing to show for it at the end. And I was used to being in roles where I had to create a report for a client, or, there was something, I had some work product at the end of the day. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not as much as I wanted, but there was always something to show for it. And I think, that's just one aspect of the difference between managing and leading, is that a lot of times you are doing your job as a leader with nothing to show for it in the immediate term in terms of work product.
Right.
I think it's also how I talk about it a lot is managing, in my mind, is something you do. A leader is someone you are. And so leading is about how you show up, who you are in that moment, and as you're interacting with the environment and the people you're leading. I see, again, women struggle with, first, when they come into leadership roles, they may struggle with the men who used to be their peers,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking a lot about, I need to know everything so that I can show Joe that I'm just as smart as he is in the software development or whatever. And I really think that when you get into that mindset, you're missing the point. Your
Right.
job is no longer to be as smart as Joe. You need Joe to be super smart. Your job
Right.
is
You
to
want him to be
lead Joe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really just shift that mindset. I like that a lot. What are ways, I mean, so if we've got people, you're a leader and you really want to get your followers engaged and inspired, what are some things that we can do? Whether it's community, whether it's within an organization, whether it's even your clients. I mean, you can look at leadership through so many lenses. How do you
Yeah.
really get that engagement and that excitement generated?
One of the first places we have to start as leaders is with building trust.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about this in the book as well, that we have a very severe crisis of trust in
Yeah.
our leaders, and it's
Mm-hmm.
across all sectors and around the world. And there's plenty of research to document the fact that we really just don't trust anybody anymore.
Right. A trust
Um,
deficit is what I've heard it recently.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's tragic, and it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we do so many things, particularly when we adopt the old style of leading, the command and control. I'm the boss of you, therefore you must do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a way to build trust.
Right.
And so I talk a lot throughout the book about the things that help build trust. Some things are as straightforward as getting to know you,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that you have 2 kids, and that your husband, what he does for a living, or knowing about the person that the people that you're leading. That's one way. Another
Mm-hmm.
is related to integrity, doing what you say, and say what you do, and or mean what you say and say what you mean, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
But underlying all of that is the fact that as leaders, the most important thing we must do is build trust with the people who we want to follow us. And that's
Yeah.
really the foundation of FollowShip, in my view.
Yeah, I like that so much. I look forward to reading it. It's coming out next week, which this will be by the time this launches, it will be out and you'll be able to find it for sure
Yeah,
anywhere. So
it
yeah,
comes out on the 28th of January. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's exciting. It's then it's out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Tamara, where can people learn more about you and your work and find your book?
Yeah, so I you can find me on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and then you can find the book on Amazon very
Hmm.
easily.
Hmm.
There's an ebook and a paperback, and I should be available in Barnes and Noble and Target before long. But of course, Amazon is one of the easiest ways to find it. And then TamraRyan.com is
Nice.
also the platform to find me.
Fabulous. So the final question I always close with are what are three pearls of wisdom you'd like to share with us today?
Oh gosh. So I would say one is something I referred to earlier, which is recognize that you're with people on their journey, that it's not
Mm-hmm.
your journey, and take
Mm-hmm.
responsibility for your own journey and be a good companion for others.
Mm-hmm.
Another is, and I believe this, even though it's hard, fear is not a reason not to do something.
Right.
So if the only reason that you're going to choose not to do something is because you're afraid, that's not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think the third thing is that this too shall pass.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that
We
in the moment it's really easy
mm-hmm.
to think that things are tragic, and sometimes they are,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and yet most things pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that today for sure. So well Tamara, so thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to getting your book and celebrating your book and just watching your journey as well. So thanks so much.
Thank you.